Thanks for tuning in to Pop Austin Media. This is Jet, and I'm with Jose Soto Jr. How's life in 2021, man?
Life's good, man. Can't complain. Been doing a lot of traveling this year. After the pandemic being locked down and whatnot, I've been trying to take advantage of, traveling again in life, So it's been a good year for me.
Traveling's always good.
Yeah.
Can just get away and just get onto your own devices.
Right.
So that's always good.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and start from the beginning though. So, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Victoria, Texas. So southeast, kind of close to Houston, kind of close to Corpus. I moved up here to Austin when I was a junior in high school, actually, Hutto, Texas, which is a big town now, but back then when I moved there was a Sonic, and that was pretty much it,
That's usually what's in small towns, like a Sonic or a Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
You're like, there's going to be a Dairy Queen and a Dollar General.
Right. But, I went to school there last 2 years, went to college, came back, and been here since, pretty much.
So how was your childhood, and like what kind of kid were you?
Man, I was a pretty disciplined. I was a good kid. I was always in honors, classes. I played multiple sports growing up.
What sports?
I played football, basketball, baseball, ran cross country.
Oh, okay.
Once I got to high school, I eventually just stuck with baseball, basketball, and then eventually just basketball.
So basketball was your favorite sport, or that's just one that you just stuck with because it was just like, okay, let me do
what's
it?
Crazy is, growing up, I would say it was my favorite sport because I was able just to go shoot the rock whenever I wanted to.
So you're point guard, shooting guard?
I was point guard, shooting guard.
Got it.
As an adult, football is by far my favorite sport, and I think if I was to do it all over again, I wish I would have played football a little bit longer, but I was like 5'0" coming in my freshman year. I was thinking about all the possible injuries. And basketball, I was able just to be around the 3-point line and shoot all day. So that was fun. But I had probably a different road in life than most people. My pops was locked up. Most of my life. Didn't have a really close relationship with my mother. My grandma raised me, so I was super close to her. She's who I, see as like my guardian, a lot of the personality traits I have are probably attributed to, her raising me and whatnot. But yeah, man, that was pretty much it. Up here, I lived with my aunt. So I kind of like moved around from family member to family member. So when I became an adult, I was like familiar with, trying to figure it out, I guess.
No, you already had it like,
yeah,
because you're kind of navigating your way through there, especially like with the pops locked up, and then with, like you said, with the mom strain. That can just get just as tough because that's moms, man. So damn, I'm sorry to hear that, but it made you into who you are today, though. So that's the good thing.
I believe you're never given anything you can't handle. It's all for a bigger reason than, you can fully understand in those moments. So. When challenges come my way, that's the same mindset I have with it. Is I'm not giving anything I can't handle, so I just have to be able to see it through. And I think it's helped me get to this point, in my life, just having that strong mindset.
For sure, and just stay positive with it. Like it's like at the time, it's like it sucks, but that's all you can do is just be like, this. I can apply this later.
Right. Right.
So where'd you graduate from?
Hutto.
So Hutto High School.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like. What college did you go to?
I went to ACC my first semester out of college. Then I went to Blend. It was called Blend Team.
Blend?
Yeah. So I attended Blend, classes at Blend and at Texas A&M over in College Station, and I did that until
Blend got some ballers, man.
And Breno, and the College Station is just a college campus, but yeah, Blend and Breno had some ballers. I think that was back when Cam Newton was playing on the football team, and all that, but. Yeah, man, it was a good time. Once I moved over there, to College Station, I had a hard time adjusting to the freedom, right? And again, I was such a disciplined kid growing up. Once I got into college, it was like partying everywhere, pool parties everywhere, and they had free food. So I was like, I'm definitely going because, back in college, you're donating blood and plasma and stuff just to make ends meet,
And so
they had free pizza somewhere I was going.
That's the same thing with me doing get money or just any type of bread. It's like, oh, it's time to party, time to have fun, just figure something out. Dude, I remember it's funny. One time I think I got some money, and it was just like I wasn't even 21 yet. So then I had to have somebody go with me, and I had a motorcycle. I was like, man, hop up on the back. So we're over there on the back, and then get, just so we could get some drinks. So it's just hilarious, just how it, how that is in college. You're just figuring things out, and then you can adapt to that in a certain way for real life, but in a better way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. My first week in college, I tried to make my own fake ID, and it didn't work at all, right? And so I think I tried to like cut like a number, that maybe 21 or whatnot, and I was like, damn, I tried to melt the plastic back on. So I eventually just stabbed some holes through that ID to make it look like like a dog was biting through it in case I ever got pulled over, which I did. And they said this looks like no dog bit through this. It looks like someone's trying to make a fake ID and stabbed it. And luckily I didn't get into any trouble for that. But yeah, can't say the same about whatever they pulled me over or whatever my interaction was to begin with. But yeah, man, I had a good time in college.
So, did college inspire the events like the event promoting when you started getting into that?
I would say it definitely had some kind of impact. When I was living there, I had a couple of friends that were promoting there on Northgate. There was a couple of bars. B-Bar was one of them. Hookah Lounge was another one. Some of my fraternity brothers were involved in attending all these parties, so we're always there. I just thought there was some way that people were benefiting from outside of the bar, because my friends, they were always, talking about going to this place. And we had free drinks, which is all I cared about really at the time, was not having to pay for drinks. But then, I started seeing the more of the business side of aspect that I still wasn't 100%, aware of, after that. But I actually didn't even get into promoting till maybe 3 years after that. And it was all, it all kind of just happened. It wasn't anything that I was planning on doing. It was just, we threw a party. My buddy, who went to high school at Hutto, got drafted by the Jets, the New York Jets, as a receiver. His name was Jeremy Curley.
I know him. Yeah.
He played at TCU.
Well, I've heard of him.
Yeah. We're teammates, same basketball team, that kind of thing. And so, leading up to it, him being drafted, you were kind of just BSing, talking about, let's throw a draft party. And I was like, man, let me put your draft party together. I bet I can get everybody to show up, and we'll do some limos or some shit like that. And I had a buddy from college who was the promoter for, what was it called back in the day? It was called a Haven, a Phoenix, I think is what it was called back then. And I hit him up. And it was getting really close to the date, and I was like, the dialogue wasn't there where I felt like, to get that reassurance that this was going to be something we didn't have to worry about and all that. So I just picked up the phone and I called Phoenix, and the GM answered, and who later ends up being a really good friend of mine. We worked together later on in life by the name of Cody Wooley, and he was like, well, what do you want, for this? And I was like, I didn't even know how to really negotiate my own deal, at that time. And he was like, well, I'll give you this and I'll give you that. And I was like, all right, that's cool, And we ended up packing out the place, maybe 500 people, everybody from Hutto, felt like it was there. And I ended up meeting, a lot of people that were in his circle, marketing, team, things like that, people who were doing his endorsements. And so I just partnered with them. Their name was BAM PR and Marketing. I didn't know at the time, but they represented over 200 athletes. And so I just met, his name was Ali Mayberry. I met him, and we just chopped it up. And I was like, hey, man, let's do something, at some point. And at some point it came maybe 2 months after that, and we threw another event. And that event was pretty good, and then it just kept on going from there,
So basically that event, which was kind of like a, hey, let me do this for you thing, it kind of inspired you to go, let me keep doing this event.
Yeah, it was crazy because, again, I had no intention of doing any of this, but when I remember going over to my aunt's house who I was really close to, and we were talking about all these people I had been meeting, you know, and I was like, well, I guess I should do something with these connections, you know, and she was kind of, you know, telling me, you know, you're young, you know, ambitious, you can go do whatever you want, you know, do whatever you want to do with this and go experience it. And that's kind of what happened. You know, I got with Phoenix again, and I did a red carpet event, black and white party, which is my favorite theme always, you know, because you can do all kinds of different things with it.
Upscale. Diddy style. Yeah. Diddy likes to do the white a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. I was definitely trying to be Diddy, you know.
You might as well.
Right. And Cedric the Entertainer ended up showing up, and we had Feedback was the company that handled all our media back then, and they did some videography, some photos, and I had a couple of sponsors, you know, watches, all kinds of things, and it was a banger, you know, my second one out, and so I did another one, and this time I did it with BAM, again with all the athletes they had, and we had like 14 NFL players show up, like Adrian Peterson, you know, Brian Arakpo, Mike Griffin, you know, some of the guys that I ended up being really good friends with, James Kirkendall, you know, was there, Damian Mandel. There was just a lot of you know, football players there, and so, you know, the parties were, you know, jumping, and you know, it was a good start, you know, to my promoting career, and it kind of just took off from there.
So I was going to ask, like, who were the first people you teamed up with, and you kind of answered it. I guess I can ask you, who's the first people you teamed up with, like doing stuff like out in Austin?
I would say it was Andrew Nguyen, Randy Ordonez. Andrew Nguyen ran Top Shelf. Randy Ordonez ran Epic Scene. There was a handful of other people. David Poku, who ran Austin Party Scene. He was one of the guys I did one of my first events with. Ben Steiner, you know, was in the promoting game back then as well.
Man, the scene has changed, man. God, all those names I know all those names. Is like, golly, like you just listen them off. It's just like, man.
It's kind of cool because, you know, back then you're just all trying to hustle. You're trying to make money. You're trying to have a good time. But I have really good relationships with all these guys. Like, you know, we're friends. Me and Randy Ordonez, you know, I would consider her one of my best friends. I work with Greg San Miguel, you know, who's part of Top Shelf. Me and Andrew, whenever we get a chance to see each other, we'll see each other, like whether it's like in Vegas or in Austin. Rick Conchante, who just won his battle over cancer. Me and him been talking a lot here recently, you know, and trying to link up and kick his ass on some 2K for, you know, old time's sake and that kind of shit. Not that I even played, you know, jump on that game anymore, but yeah, it's cool how those beginnings like manifest. It's just things that are much bigger than, you know, just partying and all that.
Well, yeah, it grows into something else, especially the more you work with somebody. Yeah. So that's just kind of how it goes. Funny, Randy makes me laugh because I remember I did an event with him a while back. And I remember him, he was in the pool, he was throwed, he had a mic in his head. He's like, everybody, let's go and party. And he was just, you know, extra throw, but it was just hilarious. Just like, man, he was having a grand old time.
It's the same. It's the same thing when we hang out, man. You know what I mean? It's always good having fun with these guys. You know. Yeah.
So you listed your first official event. I guess that was going to be my other question. You answered it. But what's your favorite venue that you've ever done an event at?
I would say Republic Live was always my favorite because, you know, it had the stage there. You know, the bar, the where the bar was, it was a big round bar, so there was plenty of easy ways, you know, to get customers in and out to get drinks and stuff. But it was always just bumping at Republic Live, you know. And whenever we wanted to do an event that was going to bring a large crowd, that's where we would do it at.
That's dope. Yeah, because I think, is Republic still around? I don't think it is. I don't think it is because I remember hearing about it, but I was like, I ain't heard about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your most successful event if you had to think about it?
You mean profitability, or do you mean like just grading everything?
I mean, I guess grading everything, just because I mean, I guess you can have an event where you make profit, but that doesn't mean that it's a good event.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be pissed. But I'm saying, like with everything combined, like I made some good profit, and people just had a grand old time.
Yeah, Coolapalooza was probably one of the best parties I think we ever did, and we had like 12 DJs. We had the plan was originally to have 7 boats. We ended up doing 5 boats, tied together, and we were gonna have 500 people. We ended up having maybe like 380, somewhere around there, right? But it was such a hassle to get out there because they had changed all the laws, so if you had DJs, you had to have security and all this stuff. Well, we signed all our contracts before they changed all these laws, so they were really just holding us up, but we ended up getting all the boats out there, and by the time we all got out there, it was just a good-ass time, kegs, liquor, we had sponsors, like, just throw all kinds of shit at us, and then we had a buddy who had he had a yacht and stuff, and so we did after party after that. I'm pretty sure even after that we went to probably Cedric Benson's crib. I've known Cedric since I was like 15 years old and shit, because I used to play baseball or basketball with his brother Dominique. And so yeah, man, it was just making the best out of that kind of situation, knowing like how many things were trying to prevent you from throwing this party and still being able to do it and still making some good, some good, decent money on it. But yeah, it was, I think, probably the most memorable one for most of the people who attended it too.
So we started out with your best. So you got to go, which one was your worst event? And the one that you like erased from your mind memory, you try to be like, nah, I don't want to think about this one ever again.
Oh, man. There's a couple that stand out, honestly. One, everyone has their one that just like nobody showed up to, and the flyer was bad and all this stuff. And this one kind of sucked because like we had good intentions of like using money to donate to the people who like were hurt by this, but it was a party we did at Deseo, I think, and it was I can't remember what we called it, but the idea was to donate some of the proceeds to people who were affected by the fires over in, I think, Bastrop, right? What was it, Bastrop? Bastrop. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about the one in West Texas, but that one was one too that was really bad.
Yeah, and so, man, the flyer was bad. It was like black and white, all smoky, looked depressing, like it was. And then, we didn't have a great turnout. And this was like early, my probably first 4 or 5 months doing events, and the turnout was horrible. And I was like, God, man, let's just hit up fifth and, fuck this, but. Yeah, that one probably sticks out the most.
Man, you just gotta roll with the punch with those and just laugh at the end of the day. Just be like, one of these days I'm gonna laugh at this thing. But right now I am pissed.
Yeah. So it was awkward, But
what's one of the hardest things that promoters don't know about the whole, like, just if you had to think like this thing sucks?
I think like being able to maintain that lifestyle is a lot. When you're young, you can do it, but I think probably the thing that most people don't realize is like you go into it, you think that you're gonna have nothing but good times. You think you're just gonna be able to party and make money partying, and it doesn't end up being like that. You form these relationships and business relationships, and it can get people can be savages out there. Especially negotiating deals and things like that. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get fucked at a money or all kinds of different things, and so I think you just have to be prepared to recognize things for what they are, and people will step on your toes, and people will talk shit about your events. You can't let any of that stuff distract you from what you're trying to do, but because you're trying to get everybody's support, and that's probably another thing. It's just when you're trying to get support, your friends and your family, they want everything free. Let's get in free, let's drink for free, let's do all that. Get in there. And you can't. It don't matter what business you're running. You can never run a successful business if you're letting people get in for free and drink for free and eat for free. All those things.
I got family that'll be like, "Let me come through the back door." I'm like, God dang, you want it all? Goodness gracious. Yeah. So what's the difference from the scene like then that you see now?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't go out too much.
You can see things online though, and just different turnouts or whatever the case may be.
First, I think the pandemic, COVID thing threw such a wild curveball of how people do things these days, whether it's being at a certain capacity, vaccinate, in Texas, we don't really care too much, about that. But, there's a lot of people that are still involved in it, which I'm glad to see. Some of the old DJs, like DJ 2DQ, I love seeing him still contributed, to all that. But maybe you don't see as much support from other promoters to other promoters. I know back then, like, we were always collabing on stuff. We were always doing something together. Chad Lyons, Glenn Williams, all these guys. We would always like throw events together because it was like the more the merrier, and maybe that's one thing is that everybody's kind of just does their own thing, and
there's no collaborating anymore. It's just like everybody's on the solo mission.
Yeah.
Dang. You got to collab. You got to that networking. That's what networking means. It's not like mine. Yeah. It's like you got to be able to talk amongst each other and be able to, work together at the end of the day. It's not that difficult, really. Yeah. So, like, what's your thoughts on the Austin scene and just Austin in general?
I mean, again, it's so different now. Music obviously has a big influence on kind of like, the kind of parties you throw and stuff, and there's definitely more like EDM and all that kind of stuff going on now that it wasn't so much back then, The things that I've been to have been so exclusive. I not as that exclusive, but like, I've hit up like the Joe Rogan, comedy show, and I've hit up, a couple of bars, downtown, on West 5th and whatnot. But maybe not a lot has changed other than the music, the drinks, and the people that are there, and just different crowds.
Do you miss any other clubs besides Republic Live?
Yeah, definitely. There was definitely some that I had like residencies, on. Sweet 101 was always one of my favorite. We used to run Buka Lounge, which was right next to Sweet 101. We did this thing on Whiskey Room, which was pretty cool, on 6th Street, But yeah, those are probably just some of the main ones.
Wasn't there one? I know it wasn't necessarily on 6th Street. There was one called like the Mansion or something.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
Mansion.
That's the one. That's the one.
The Mansion. We threw some good shows out there.
I've been to there a lot of the times.
Yeah.
They used to be popping for a while.
The Mansion, and I failed to mention the Mansion when we talked about one of my favorite venues, but that was definitely one of them because again, you can pack so many people in there. The events just jump in. You can hear music from everywhere, and then you have the second level up there.
The setup was dope.
Yeah.
It was bothering me, man. I was like, what is the name of that god dang freaking club? And I was like, I just thought about it just now, like the Mansion. That's the one.
Yeah. Whenever we did big events, you can ask Andrew Nguyen. That was his favorite place to do it at, because Connections, Alex owned that thing. I don't know if he does or what's going on with the Mansion anymore, but yeah, that was a fun place, man.
Cool, man. Want to shout out to some of your old crew?
I mentioned a lot of you guys already. Randy, Andrew, Greg, David Poku, Rick and Chante, man. I had you in my thoughts a lot, man. Everybody out there, JC, everybody who was rocking with us back in the day. Rodney Pins, I see you doing a lot of big things these days. AC, all you guys, but yeah, man, maybe one of these days we just do a big reunion, right?
Oh, man, that'd be lit. Man, just like that old scene again. That'd be lit, actually. That's a good idea. You should do that. I mean, of course, not do it all by yourself, but have everybody amongst, just see if they can do their stuff. That'd be dope. Well, Jose, it was good having you, man. Hey, man, good chat. This is Jet. I'm with Pop Austin Media. I'm signing out.
Appreciate it, man.